So therefore I have asked you for some favor. But I know that persons who are pure devotees, and have, by serving the lotus feet of great souls, become freed from all material desires, are always merged in the ocean of transcendental bliss, and as such are always satisfied simply by glorifying your auspicious characteristics. For them there is nothing else to aspire to or pray for. In the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, 4th chapter, verse 67, the Lord of Vaikuntha replies to Durvasa Muni thus: My pure devotees are always satisfied for being engaged in devotional service, and therefore they do not aspire even after the 5 liberated stages, which are 1. To be one with me, 2. To achieve residence on my planet, 3. To have my opulences, 4. To possess bodily features similar to mine, and 5. To gain personal association with me. So when they are not interested even in those liberated positions, you can know how little they care for material opulences or material liberation. There is a similar prayer by the Nagapatnis, the wives of the Kaliya serpent, in the 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 16th chapter, verse 37. The Nagapatnis say there, Dear Lord, the dust of your lotus feet is very wonderful. Any person who is fortunate enough to achieve this dust does not care for heavenly planets, lordship over all the planetary systems, the material perfections of yoga, or even liberation from material existence. In other words, anyone who adores the dust of your lotus feet does not care a fig for all other perfectional stages. There is a similar statement in the 10th canto, 87th chapter, verse 21, wherein the Shrutis, the Vedas personified, pray to the Lord as follows. Dear Lord, it is very difficult to understand spiritual knowledge. Your appearance here, just as you are, is to explain to us this most difficult subject of knowledge of the Spirit. As such, your devotees who have left their domestic comforts to associate with the liberated acharjas, teachers, are now fully merged in the devotional service of your Lordship, and thus they do not care for any so-called liberation. In explaining this verse, it should be noted that spiritual knowledge means understanding the self and the supersoul, or superself. The individual soul and the supersoul are qualitatively one, and therefore both of them are known as Brahman, or spirit. But knowledge of Brahman is very difficult to understand. There are so many philosophers engaged in the matter of understanding the soul, but they are unable to make any tangible advancement. It is confirmed in Bhagavad-gītā that out of many millions of persons, only one may try to understand what is spiritual knowledge. And out of many such persons who are trying to understand, only one or a few may know what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse says that spiritual knowledge is very difficult to achieve, and so in order to make it more easily attainable, the Supreme Lord himself comes in his original form as Sri Krishna and gives his instruction directly to an associate like Arjuna, just so that the people in general may take advantage of this spiritual knowledge. This verse also explains that liberation means having completely given up all the material comforts of life. Those who are impersonalists are satisfied by simply being liberated from material circumstances. But those who are devotees can automatically give up material life and also enjoy the transcendental bliss of hearing and chanting the wonderful activities of Lord Krishna. In the 11th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 20th chapter, verse 34, Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, My dear Uddhava, the devotees who have completely taken shelter of my service are so steadfast in devotional service that they have no other desire. Even if they are offered the 4 kinds of spiritual opulences, they will refuse to accept them. So what to speak of their desiring anything within the material world? Similarly, Lord Krishna says in another passage of the Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 14th chapter, verse 14, "My dear Uddhava, a person whose consciousness is completely absorbed in my thought and activities does not aspire even to occupy the post of Brahma, or the post of Indra, or the post of lordship over all the planets, or the 8 kinds of mystic perfections, or even liberation itself." In the 12th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th chapter, verse 6, Lord Shiva says to Devi, "My dear Devi, this great Brahmana sage Markandeya has attained unflinching faith and devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such he does not aspire after any benedictions, including liberation from the material world." Similarly, there is a statement in Padma Purana describing the ritualistic function during the month of Kartika, October-November. During this month, in Vrindavan, it is the regulative principle to pray daily to Lord Krishna in his Damodara form. The Damodara form refers to Krishna in his childhood, when he was tied up with rope by his mother, Yashoda. Dama means ropes, and Udara means the abdomen. So Mother Yashoda, being very disturbed by naughty Krishna, bound him round the abdomen with a rope, and thus Krishna is named Damodara. During the month of Kartika, Damodara is prayed to as follows: "My dear Lord, you are the Lord of all, the giver of all benedictions." There are many demigods, like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, who sometimes offer benedictions to their respective devotees. For example, Ravana was blessed with many benedictions by Lord Shiva, and Hiranyakashipu was blessed by Lord Brahma. But even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma depend upon the benedictions of Lord Krishna, and therefore Krishna is addressed as the Lord of all benefactors. As such, Lord Krishna can offer his devotees anything they want, but still the devotee's prayer continues. "I do not ask you for liberation, or any material facility up to the point of liberation. What I want is your favor, that I may always think of your form, which I see now, as Damodara. You are so beautiful and attractive that my mind does not want anything besides this wonderful form." In this same prayer there is another passage in which it is said, "My dear Lord Damodara, once when you were playing as a naughty boy in the house of Nanda Mahārāj, you broke the box containing yogurt, and because of that, Mother Yashoda considered you an offender and tied you with rope to the household grinding mortar. At that time, you delivered the 2 sons of Kuvera, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, who were staying there as 2 Arjuna trees in the yard of Nanda Mahārāj. My only request is that by your merciful pastimes you may similarly deliver me." The story behind this verse is that the 2 sons of Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods, were puffed up on account of the opulence of their father. So once on the heavenly planet they were enjoying themselves in a lake with some naked damsels of heaven. At that time the great sage Narada Muni was passing on the road, and was sorry to see the behavior of the sons of Kuvera. Seeing Narada passing by, the damsels of heaven covered their bodies with cloth, but the 2 sons, being drunkards, did not have this decency. Narada became angry with their behavior and cursed them thus: "You have no sense, so it is better if you become trees instead of the sons of Kuvera." Upon hearing this, the boys came to their senses and begged Narada to be pardoned for their offenses. Narada then said, "Yes, you shall become trees, Arjuna trees, and you will stand in the courtyard of Nanda Mahārāj. But Krishna himself will appear in time as the foster son of Nanda, and he will deliver you." In other words, the curse of Narada was a benediction to the sons of Kuvera, because indirectly it was foretold that they would be able to receive the favor of Lord Krishna. After that, Kuvera's two sons stood as two big Arjuna trees in the courtyard of Nanda Mahārāj, until Lord Damodara, in order to fulfill the desire of Narada, dragged the grinding mortar to which he was tied and struck the two trees, violently causing them to fall down. From out of these fallen trees came Nalakuvara and Manigriva, who had by then become great devotees of the Lord. There is a passage in the Hayashirsha Pancharatra which states, "My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I do not want any resultant benediction from my religious life, nor do I want any economic development, nor do I want to enjoy sense gratification nor liberation. I simply pray to be an eternal servant at your lotus feet. Kindly oblige me and give me this benediction." In the same Hayashirsha Pancharatra, after Nrsimhadev wanted to